Okay, everybody, let's say hello, guys. We're going to show you here. Say hello, everybody. This is Purim Live. I am not Mozart, although I like my hair. It looks pretty nice like this. Okay, guys, say hello, everybody. Purim Live. Say hello. Hello! Okay. It is Purim Live, and I want it to be unplugged. Oh my gosh. I want it to be
Maybe not
that unplugged. I want it to be unplugged and real, because it's Purim. And Purim is a very, very amazing holiday. Right, Andrew?
Right.
L'chaim, l'chaim, l'chaim. Who's making l'chaim? Hey! Travis! We're going to call him Trevor if he does not make a l'chaim. L'chaim, 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 l'chaim. Does anyone know who the first person who taught the words l'chaim was? Oh, Rabbi Lubitz! Oh, ay, 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 oh, oh, ay, 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 oh, oh, ay, 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 oh, oh, ay, ay. This is the head of the school of AJA. Rabbi Lubitz has joined us, Chevra. It's very, very beautiful. So I want to share with you so many things. So this is Purim Unplugged. We'll be very real. As real as we can be. Right, Trevor? Why did I call him Trevor? Why? His name is Travis. I call him Trevor. Because we wear masks. Why do we wear masks on Purim? Who knows why we wear masks on Purim?
Because of the hidden lie.
Because the hidden lie, because of Billy Joel. Yeah, we all have a face that we hide away forever. No, that's not it. Okay, the reason why we have masks is because Purim is about seeing through the illusion. What happens is, in all of life, there's a mask that the world is wearing. There's a mask the world's wearing. Hashem is concealing himself. And that's the mask. And Purim is about uncovering that mask. And that's why it is an ancient Jewish custom to dress up on Purim. Why do we do it? This is not Halloween! We don't say trick or treat. We don't say that. We don't do trick. We say treat or treat. That's what we say. We come along and we say, hey, we want to give you. We want to give. We want to share with you. That's what Purim is about. Purim is Mishlach Manos, giving presents to your friends. You got someone you don't like, you know what you should do? Don't go and put about him in the newspaper. I'm going to put him on Facebook. He did something bad. No. That is not the way. You got someone you don't like, you know what you do? Send him some food gifts. Send him shlach mana. Send him something good. That's what we do. Not trick or treat. It's treat or treat. What do you want? A treat or a treat? That's what it is. It's not at all that other idea. It's the idea of giving. Purim is about connection. So why do we wear masks? Why wear masks? You got to understand this. This is so deep. This is so deep. Purim is the holiday of masks. It's the holiday, guys, where God is concealed. I want to tell you something. This is just mind-boggling. It says, the Gemara says, the Talmud says, it says, where do you find Haman in the Torah? Okay? That's a weird question. Ladies, why is this a weird question? You know why it's a weird question? Why is it a weird question? Where do you find Haman in the Torah, in the Bible? Why is that a weird question? Why? That's right. The answer is it's a weird question. Very good. The Rabbits, let's give her a round of applause. Hey! The reason why that question makes no sense is because Haman happens over 1,000 years after the Torah is written. So how could he be in the Torah? So what's the Talmud asking? Where is Haman in the Torah? I want to tell you the answer. Start, although I like my hair, it looks pretty nice. Is because Haman happens over 1,000 years after the Torah is written. So how could he be in the Torah? So what's the Torah? What's the Talmud asking? Where is Haman in the Torah? I want to tell you the answer. When Adam and Eve ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, they thought that, the world is messed up. And it says they heard God's presence in the Garden of Eden, and they hid. Now, why'd they hide? Why'd they hide? A minute ago, before he ate the tree of knowledge of good and evil, Adam and Eve were speaking to Hashem. They were speaking to God. They were prophets. So what does it mean that now all of a sudden God's presence they felt in the garden and they hid? What happened was, when they ate the tree of knowledge of good and evil, they knew they couldn't see God. And they knew they had entered into a world that was not good, and they hid. They didn't see God, and they thought God didn't see them. And now watch what happens. So Hashem comes to them, and he says, Hamin ha'etz? Did you eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil? Now what kind of statement is that? Doesn't Hashem know they ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil? Why is God asking them? Ladies and gentlemen, why is God asking them? Doesn't he know they ate from the tree? Why is he saying, Hamina eats? Did you eat from the tree? Doesn't he know? Guys, what do you think? Why is God asking them? I'll tell you the answer. This is amazing. You ever see the game the kids play? A little kid plays the following game. He says, hide and seek. He says like this, you can't see me. You can't see me. Is that correct? No. We could see him fine, but he can't see us. But the little kid, whoa, one more time, I'm trying to plug in. Whoa, ay.
We should drink every time.
Okay, every time we drink. L'chaim. I was trying to plug in. I think I plugged in. Let's see if it worked. 1 second. Michael, am I plugged in? We'll see. Okay. So what happened was like this. A kid goes and says, you can't see me. Why? Because he can't see you. So he thinks you can't see him. That's exactly what happened in the Garden of Eden. Once Adam and Eve ate the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and they couldn't see Hashem, Hashem showed them that same energy back to them. Hashem reflected that same thing. Oh, you can't see me? Oh, I can't see you. Did you eat the tree of knowledge of good and evil? As if God doesn't know. Of course he knows. So why is God asking? Because Hashem is saying to them, you've entered into a world of illusion now. And I'm reflecting to you this world of illusion. Did you eat the tree of knowledge of good and evil? As if God doesn't know. And that means the world is now saying, wait a minute, this world is all mixed up. God doesn't even know what I'm doing. Now the word hamin, did you eat from the tree, hamin, is spelled hey mem nun, which is the word Haman. Where does Haman appear in the Torah? In that first confusion, that first hiddenness of the world, when the world is so confused that you don't know between good and bad, right and wrong. That's the moment where Haman exists. Wow. Wow. Purim. Guys, I think we got to sing a song. Hello, everybody there in Facebook land. We're going to sing you a song. Let's do aye aye one more time. Ready? Oh, oh, aye aye aye. Oh, oh, aye 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 aye. Oh, oh, aye 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 aye. Oh, oh, aye aye. Oh, oh, aye aye aye. Oh, oh, everybody. Aye 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 aye. Oh, oh, aye 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 aye. Oh, oh, aye aye. Aye nine 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 nine. Aye nine 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 nine. Aye nine 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 nine. Aye nine 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 nine. Aye nine 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 nine. Aye nine 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 nine. Oh, oh, aye 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 aye. Oh, oh, aye 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 aye. Oh, oh, aye 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 aye. Oh, oh, aye aye. Oh, oh, aye aye aye. Oh, oh, aye 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 aye. Oh, oh, aye 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 aye. Oh, oh, aye aye. L'chaim, l'chaim, l'chaim. So here's a trivia question. Michael, this is for you. Who knows? Who? Oh, we're not recording. So in the Talmud, there's a process called the Hava Mina. The Hava Mina is that the process of thinking has different dimensions. We say, what would you have thought? And then we respond. We go through the whole process. And that represents the idea that in your thinking, in the Talmud, there are two sides. And even though in the Talmud, we come out with a conclusion, both sides have validity, otherwise they wouldn't have been brought in the Talmud. So what Andrew's asking, so how does that work with Haman, with Haman? I want to explain something very, very, very deep. This is so deep I wasn't going to say it. But Andrew pressed my buttons. I got to say it now. So the great sage of Salak HaKoyin says the following. He says like this. He says like this. And this is very deep. Michael, this is for you. He says that everything in the world, everything in the world that is even the bad things cannot exist unless there is a spark of holiness that keeps them alive. That's what the Kabbalists tell us called the Nitzos Kedusha, the spark of holiness. Now, if people that are bad, they don't really have it in them, they call it a yonek. They draw from that source of holiness to get their life, otherwise they couldn't exist. Because in the end, what's going to happen, guys, understand this, in the end, this is very, very important, very, very deep. In the end, all evil and negativity is going to disappear. Because once the sparks of holiness will be removed, then anything that is sucking and nursing and holding on to that will disappear. Now let me explain what that means. In the religious world, and I respect this very much, those who do not or not functioning, let's say, in the traditional religious circles, this will sound crazy to them. But in Israel and Jerusalem, the sages do not approve of smartphones. Why do they not approve of smartphones? Because they say, hey, this stuff is really a Pandora's box for evil. And they're right. And therefore, they say, listen, you get a young guy, 18 years old, 20 years old, in the religious world, stay away. Or put on the filters that could protect you. Now, that's true. That's true. Now, many of you hearing my class tonight, and many of you here do not come from that background. So you say, wait a minute, I love my smartphone. My iPhone, man, it's got like everything. So I want to explain to you, yes, there is a power to use your smartphone for good. That's the spark of holiness that makes your smartphone exist. There's something good you could use your phone for, but there's so much bad that comes around it. How many people use it for good? Not that many. Everyone in this room does. And I hope those who listen to me out there will use it for good. But most people don't use it for good. So what happens is that the things that keep everything alive is everything can be used in some way for something good. Right? There's some way to use it for good. That's the sparks of holiness that keep something alive. Now I want to ask you a very deep question. Michael, what's the spark of holiness that keeps Haman alive?
To destroy him.
Destroy him. Okay. What's the spark of holiness that keeps Haman alive? You hear my question? This question. This is the thought. If Haman is so bad, how's he alive? There must be something deep, deep down that has something good.
The son's Torah and B'nai B'rach.
That's right. Something's going to come out that's good. So let me explain to you something very, very deep. This the great Ratzal Cohen says also. He says like this. He says, what does the Talmud mean when it says Haman is in that verse where God says, did you eat the tree of knowledge of good and evil? It means like this. In the highest, holiest levels, sometimes God says, are you doing what's right? That's appropriate. That's holy. When Hashem says to Adam and Eve, did you eat the tree of knowledge of good and evil? What he's saying is that, whoa, I'm concealing myself. I'm hiding. I'm asking you as a question as if I don't know, because you went into a world you shouldn't have gone into. And now what's happening is, I need to know, are you doing what's right or wrong? So in the highest place, that's called dinim de kedusha. That's called restriction that is for holiness. Let me explain what this means. Is it good or bad to restrict and to limit?
Great.
I want to explain to you the reason why Michael answered that is because he named his son Yitzchak. I'll explain that to you afterwards. I missed the bris. That's why I named his son Yitzchak. Is it good or bad to limit? Ladies and gentlemen, Facebook, I have my glasses on, but if you want to say, happen here, is it good or bad to limit yourself?
Good.
Good?
It's your existence. It's your life.
Why is it your life to limit yourself?
Because if I didn't have any limits, I would explode.
Oh, let's understand. If you had no boundaries, you would explode. Now watch. Let me show you on guitar. I love playing guitar. I like my hair, and I love guitar. I want to get all of the things. I want to put like Bruce Springsteen, and I want to put Nirvana, and I want to put all these things together in one. Blah, 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 blah.
It sounded kind of good, actually.
Noise!
It's terrible.
Terrible. You need to limit. Now you got to put your finger on this and your finger on that, and you got to limit. Oh, a C. An A minor. G. You need to limit yourself. Because anything in the world that has no boundaries will not have any expression in the world. That's very deep. I want to tell you how deep that is, but I need to have l'chaim for that. L'chaim, guys. We're still in Purim. We're sort of getting there. L'chaim. Purim, we'll speak about it's Ad Lo Yat, so you don't. There's in Haman and Mordechai, the curse and the blessings, but it's very deep. We're almost there. L'chaim.
Here you go. In case you ran out.
I need that. Thank you. Am I going to pour me a little bit? So now, what happens like this? You need some limitation. And let me explain how deep this is. This is so deep. Guys, you got to, I don't know, you got to drink or you got to think or you got to do something. I'm going to tell you, this is a mind blower. Ready? I want to tell you something, Michael. We're going to tell them now the clock. I'm going to share with you now the secrets of the great Kabbalist, the Ramachal. Ramachal says, he said like this. Watch this. He's like this. Listen how deep this is. Hashem is endless. God's endless. And therefore you have no way to understand anything. What could you say about Hashem? He's very, 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 very kind. You can't understand. It's infinite. His chesed is infinite. You can't understand anything. Ein Sof. God's endless nature is completely incomprehensible. What did God do, therefore? He limited to give you an understanding of the world. In the Garden of Eden, what happened was God said, okay, Adam and Eve, you did the wrong thing. Did you eat the tree of knowledge of good and evil? That's the limitation in the higher levels. So when a parent says to a child, he says, listen, child, son, daughter, did you do the right thing? That's a holy thing. They're limiting it. They're saying it's not a free-for-all, as opposed to what American society is telling you right now, that there are no limits. That's a lie. There are limits. And therefore, when a parent says to a child, did you do the right thing? Here, limit it. That's a holy expression. Now, what happens if you're a person that limits it and wants to rein it in, and you become obsessed with limiting it? You know what you start doing? You say to somebody, hey, you're not doing right. This is it. You got to be like me. That's the limitation. When it's appropriate is very good. When I play guitar and I have expression and I have inspiration, but I have limitations to create the proper limitations of the song, I create music. But when I have limitations that are so obsessive, that becomes judgment and anger. And I want to tell you something. I want to say it right now, and I want you to understand something. I wish I was more Ad Lo Yada, more fine in the Purim thing. I'll get a whole whiskey. I'll get there. I want to tell you, America became a very angry place. America's a very angry place. And you know what is happening happening? And the ones who point the finger at the one who's angry, are they themselves even angrier? Get out of it. Get out of your political nonsense.
Politics is a Molly.
Yeah, Michael showed me a Kabbalistic rabbi who said the numerical value of a molek, the source of contention, is the same numerical value as the word politics. Okay, but what is that? Everyone's stuck in this. America's an angry place now. Everyone's pointing. Facebook, you did this, and we're gonna catch you. Don't catch me. I'm open, man. I'm not perfect. Is anybody in this room perfect?
Yes.
Who?
Somebody. The clock.
Who?
Hashem.
Hashem's perfect, right. Nobody in this room is perfect. We're not perfect. And therefore, you want to catch me? You caught me. Let's make it easy right now. I'm not perfect. No one's perfect here. And what's happening in this forsaken reality is they're pointing fingers, hypocrites, trying to say, oh, we found you did this. We found you were doing this. And the guys who are pointing the fingers are the ones who did the same thing themselves. That's the world. That's the world of a Molech. It's a world of illusion. That's the lies of Edom. That's the world that we're living in. I want to tell you something right now. You gotta understand this. We are called in the exile of Edom, of Rome. There are 4 animals in the Torah, it says, that have one sign of holiness. There are 2 signs that an animal needs to be kosher. One is he has to have a split hoof. Okay? The second one, he needs to chew his cud. Why those 2 signs? You know why there's 2 signs?
Inner and outer.
Inner and outer. What's the inner and outer? The outer is that if you have a split hoof, you don't have claws, and you don't trample and kill your prey. So you're non-predatorial. You're not a predator. That's the split hoof. What does it mean you chew your cud? This is kind of disgusting, but I'll share with you anyway. An animal that has 4 stomachs, as the cow does, eats his food, and then he reinvests it. Is that a good way to say it?
Yeah.
It comes back up, choose again, whoop, back down. Comes back up, number 2, number 3. 4 times. The cow chews cud, means the food that goes up comes back up, he chews again, goes back down. What is that internal meaning? The Vilna Gaon says it means that internally, a person who is content with what he has is a holy person. A person who says, give me more. That's not a holy person. The 2 signs of the animal that make them holy is a split hoof, which means that it's not a non-predatory, it's not the anger and the venom to kill. And it chooses cud, which means it's not insatiable. It's content with what it has. He eats it a little bit and he's content. He keeps eating it all day, right? The cow eats it all day. He eats a little bit and goes on and on and on. Those are the 2 signs of holiness. The external, you're not angry, power, control. Internal, mastery of desire. The 2 signs of holiness. There are 4 animals which have one sign and not the other.
Well, Rabbi, that's not good for the economy.
Hold on, let's play 1 second. 4 animals that have one sign, not the other. There is the shafan, the arnevet, which would question what they are. Could be the Angorican sheep and the some other stuff, what they are. The shafan, the arnevet, the camel. Those 3 have the internal sign of holiness. They chew their cud, they're content, but they don't have split hooves. The 4th animal is the pig. The pig. The pig has a split hoof, but does not chew its cud. There were 4 nations that ruled over the world, that took the kingdom from Israel. One was Babylon. One was Persia. One was Greece. Those 3 have the internal holiness, not the external holiness. The 4th one is Rome. Rome has the external and not the internal. This is why Jews have problems eating pork. I'm not saying someone's not Jewish can eat pork. It's fine. But Jews, it's very weird. There are Jews who actually are not so strict about the laws of kosher, and for some bizarre reason, they won't eat pork. And when I was a kid, that made no sense to me. I didn't understand what they were doing. But I do understand it a little bit. You know why that is? Because the pork, in a certain way, is an anathema to our thinking. The pig has the external sign. He says, I'm holy. Look, I have split hooves. He's a hypocrite. On the outside, he's holy. On the inside, he's not. That's Rome. That's the world you're in today, ladies and gentlemen. Don't believe anything you read in the news. It's all hypocrisy. This person did this. Yeah, the guy who's yelling, I guarantee, did the same thing. It's hypocrisy. External. It's fake. That's the world of externalities. That's the world we're in today. That's not the world of the Torah. The world of the Torah is, it says, you got to be afraid from hypocrites. The thing most is the hypocrites. People have to be called tocho kabaro. You're inside and outside are one. We're not perfect. No one's perfect here. We make mistakes. That's okay. Hashem accepts we make mistakes. It's okay to make a mistake. You're human. You're supposed to make mistakes. But you got to admit it. You can't fake it. You can't go pretend you're a tzaddik when you made a mistake. You made a mistake. You made a mistake. That's the great King David. King David made mistakes. He was the first one to say, I was wrong. And once he said that, Hashem forgave him. Because it's human to make mistakes. And although Facebook wants to grill you and tear you apart, the person's got to be honest and say, this is true. Let's sing a song about King David. David Melech, Melech Yisrael. David Melech, Melech Yisrael. David Melech, Melech Yisrael. Melech Yisrael. Chadek hayom. David Melech, Melech Yisrael. David Melech, Melech Yisrael. David Melech, Melech Yisrael. Melech Yisrael. Chadek hayom. O siman, siman tov. ומזל מזל טוב יהי לנו לכל ישראל האהובה מבואת וסימן סימן טוב ומזל מזל טוב יהי לנו לכל ישראל האהובה דוד מלך מלך ישראל David Melech, Melech Yisrael, David Melech, Melech Yisrael, Melech Yisrael, Chadek hayom, David Melech, Melech Yisrael, David Melech, Melech Yisrael, David Melech, Melech Yisrael, Melech Yisrael, Chadek hayom, O siman siman tov. ומזל מזל טוב יהי לנו לכל ישראל אהוב אמן וסימן סימן טוב ומזל מזל טוב יהי לנו לכל ישראל אהוב אמן ויהי Yeheilanu L'chol Yisrael Amen. Oh Yeheilanu L'chol Yisrael Amen. Oh Yeheilanu L'chol Yisrael Amen. Chaim. Okay, now I want to say something extremely deep. Extremely deep. I don't like to say this Dvar Torah until I've gotten there. And I'm not there yet, but my great Talmud, Michael, has poured me a large glass. So maybe this will work. Chaim. Nobody has answered the question who the first person to get the bracha l'chaim was. Does anyone? No one knows. This is a mystery. This is one of these great questions. No. The first person to make the l'chaim bracha up. Aaron, I want you to answer this question. I want you to ask it tomorrow in yeshiva. See if they know the answer.
I think it's Yitzhak.
No. Who's the bracha? Person who made the blessing l'chaim.
Moshe.
Nope.
Yitzhak.
Nope.
Rabbi Ingber.
Nope. Rabbi Akiva. Oh! Rabbi Akiva had a great saying. His saying was Chaim v'chumra l'fum rabbanon, which is an Aramaic term means life and wine into the mouth of the sages. It's not about drinking. It's about getting to the point of life. Chayim, chumrah, and wine, the fum, to the mouth of the sages. So I want to share with you something very, very deep. We are now in Purim, and in Purim, there's a very, very strange commandment that Jews have a big problem with. They have a big problem with. We don't know how to deal with Nazis. Yamach Shemo. We don't deal with them, and as the generation of the Holocaust passes away, I feel myself more compelled to speak. Because my mother was at Auschwitz. My mother faced Mengele, Yamach Shemo, the doctor of evil. My mother was 16 years old when she arrived in Auschwitz. She was 16 years old. She got off the train. The cattle cars, the Nazis threw them on and lied to them where they were going. We're transporting you. So my mother, Aleh Shalom, she was in the cattle cars. She's 16 years old. She was very small. She looked like she was 14. And she gets out of the cattle cars and she sees this guy, emaciated person, wearing this prison clothes. And my mother was frightened. She didn't know what he was. Was he Jewish? Not, she didn't know who he was. She was like scared of him. And this guy with the emaciated face, wearing this clothes of the prisoners, he calls my mother over. And he says to her, listen, when they ask you how old you are, say you're 18. And she was 16, and she looked like she was 14. So this guy says to her, when they ask you how old you are, say you're 18. My mother said, you're crazy. Leave me alone. You're weird. You get out of here. And she didn't know, but the guy said that to her. Then the Nazis made a line. They had a line, and there was a guy standing there, this powerful-looking guy, who thought he was the one to determine life and death. And what happened was people would come up and he'd say, how old are you? Who are you? What are you? And they would say, go to the left, go to the right. They didn't know what left and right was. Left was to the crematoriums to get burnt, and right was to go to work in the labor camp in Auschwitz. This guy was Mengele. Joseph Mengele, Dr. Mengele, the evil incarnate of Haman, who did experiments on human beings to kill them, to torture them. The epitome of evil in the world, the Nazi. And he would be the one to decide and go right or left. My mother, Shenya, came in front of him, and he says to her, he says, how old are you? And my mother remembered what the guy had said, say you're 18. And she's 16. She looks like she's 14. She says, I'm 18 years old. She looks him in the eye, Mengele Machshimo, this evil doctor. Here's what he said to her. He said, Shrewdy, shrewd one. You think he's so shrewd? Go ahead. Go to the right. Go to that side. We'll see if you'll make it. She went to the right side. She lived. Parents went to the left, and they were burnt in the crematoriums, as were her younger sisters and brothers. So I'm here, the point for the world, and we reconnected. Look at that. Wow. So
I think you made it.
we made it. We reconnected.
Back.
We reconnected. Baruch Hashem. So he says, go to the right, and she goes to the right, and we're here to this day because of that. That's face to face with evil. That's what it is. That's what Haman was. Haman was the idea of the Nazi. I want you to understand this because it's so against the Jewish concept to go and to fight Amalek, to eradicate this people. How could that be? We are commanded to be compassionate. But if you meet someone who has a philosophy of a Nazi, of evil, you have to deal with it. Our great king, Shaul, Saul, couldn't destroy Amalek. He had compassion. He said, even though they're Nazis, there's a certain place, there must be something good in them. So where's the good in the Nazi? Where's the good in Haman? How do you deal with that? If everything that lives in this world, Chaim Yaakov, everything that lives in this world right now, has to have something good that it nurtures from, what does Amalek nurture from? Amalek, which is Nazism, is evil. What is the good it pulls from? To do what? Why is it reveal God? It's very deep. It's very hard.
I know the explanation, but I don't know how to explain it.
Well, I want to say something. Ayelet said she knows the answer, but she can't explain it. And I want to tell you something. That's why. And we're not there. And I'll explain it in a minute. We're going to get there, God willing. But that's why you can't do it until you're ad de lo yadam Purim. The only time you could pull out that spark that's still good in that evil is on Purim. And you can't do it in a normal state of consciousness. You have to be ad lo yada. Because there's no way you could look at bad and say there's something good. You can't say it. But reality is that even bad has got a place where it's nurturing of something that's good. Otherwise it couldn't exist. And that's the secret of Purim. The secret of Purim is when you get ad lo yada, when you drink to the point where you don't know, there's a point that you can pull out the good from the evil, pull it out even by accident and let the evil float away because there's no more good inside of it. What is that good? What is the good? What is the good? Can't be. I can't even say it. Right? What could be the good? What could be the good of a Nazi? What could be the good of Haman? So much so the sages tell us that if you drink on Purim, you get Ad lo yodah. You don't know between Haman and Mordechai. Blessed is Haman, cursed is Mordechai. If I said it backwards, if I said it the other way, which I'm not there yet, then that would be good. I would say, blessed is that negativity. I'd pull out the good from the negativity, and I'd leave the negativity of Haman to disappear. What is that? What is that? What is that? Is there anything good there? Defies logic. Defies logic. Jay, you got an idea?
Yeah, the idea is if it is an existence, it is good in some extent because Hashem made it. So even if it is evil in what we see, the fact that it's existing, it has some good in it that we don't understand what it is, but that it is good, and that when we pull that good out, then that bad that's left doesn't exist anymore; it disappears.
So let me explain what Jay just said. Jay just said one answer that Rav Cohen says. Jay said like this. Rav Cohen says is that Amalek's power that's good in the world is to conceal good. How is that good? Because you got to get rid of them to remove the good, to bring out the good. When a person stands up to evil and says, "You're evil," and you're hiding God, that itself is a purpose in the world. So what Einstein Jay is saying, he's saying that we've battled Amalek. We say that we're now going to go and to remove the good of you. Your whole process is to say, you fight God. I want to explain this, ladies and gentlemen. I said this many times. It's amazing. Let's get the word Amalek. Amalek are Nazi philosophy. I want to tell you something so crazy. I don't know if you guys heard this before. You probably heard this idea. This idea is it says the gematria, the numerical value of the word Amalek is the word safek. Safek is doubt. Amalek, what they do is they put doubt in the world. Here's what they do. They say like this. You say, there's God. Wow, I had an experience. There's truth in the world. I said, who said? Maybe it's an accident. Maybe it's random. They put doubt in your mind. How do they do that? Asher korcha b'derech. They happen to meet you. They say everything's an accident in the world. Everything's an accident. And therefore, it's meaningless. That's the world of Amalek. What they do is they say their name Amalek is the numerical value of doubt. They say maybe it's an accident. Maybe people have an experience. You have an experience. You think, wow, God was so involved in my life. I had an experience. I felt like God was directing me. And they say, well, maybe not. Maybe it was fortuitous. Maybe it was an accident. Maybe you're right. Wow. So now they take you out from the spiritual experience that you were trying to sense. But something even deeper. The word Amalek is the word like this. Amalek is the word Amal. Amal means the work of Kof, the letter Kof. Letter Kof is monkey. Amalek means the work of the monkey. Oh my gosh. Ladies and gentlemen, this is American philosophy. You're not a person. You don't have a soul. You're really a monkey. It just happens to be. You're kind of like a freak, evolved a little bit different, but you're really a monkey. 99.9%, you're a monkey. But wait a minute, I got a soul. Oh, get out of here. You're a monkey. Amalek's philosophy is there's no meaning to the world. The world is meaningless. And what Jay is saying is that their purpose is for us to say there's meaning. When you say the world is meaningful, you destroy Amalek. Today, on this day of Purim, when you go and say, okay, wait a minute. The world, I'm drinking a little bit, I have l'chaim, the world is spinning, but I know there's a purpose. I know the world's going someplace. I know there's meaning to the world. You now have destroyed Amalek, because their philosophy is the work of the monkey. This ain't going no place. It's all monkey see, monkey do. There is no point. I mean, you imagine this philosophy. I want to ask you something. I'm not talking about evolution right now. We can have a class on evolution, whether it's a good theory, it's a bad theory. I personally think it's not a very good theory. Personally, myself, from studying it, that means statistically and philosophically on a fine level. There's a great book by Michael Behe called Darwin's Black Box, and he says like this. He says that Darwin made a process. Darwin says, "Look, here's a process. You have let's say a skateboard, and a skateboard evolves into a bicycle, and a bicycle evolved into a motorcycle, and a motorcycle evolves into a car." Says Michael Behe in the black box of Darwin's Black Box. Listen, wait, you don't understand something. Darwin did not understand the fine levels of the chemical world. He didn't understand those things. So in Darwin's world, to go from a bicycle to a motorcycle, yeah, that's a jump. A bicycle to a motorcycle, that's a very, very, very big jump. It doesn't work. That's not just conceptual. If you understand on the biochemical level everything that's happening, to have a random mutation that brings you there, the odds of that, I want to tell you something. It's a book written by an evolutionist called Robert Shapiro. Unfortunately, a nice Jewish boy. And Robert Shapiro writes in the book there, he says that he's an evolutionist. He says, the odds of one bacteria being formed arbitrarily, this is what he writes, is the same as a tornado sweeping through a junkyard and building a 747. He writes that, and he's an evolutionist. And he says, this is what he writes. You look in the book there. He says, what are we going to do? We're going to say that the escape hatch, that it's God's spiritual religion. We thank our lucky stars that evolution worked out that way. Because it could happen. A tornado can go through a junkyard and make a 747. It's possible. That's what he wrote. So I'm not talking about now the theory of evolution. You may believe, may not believe. I personally don't think it's a very good belief. I'm not a scientist. But even if you believe in that, there's no way you could prove that evolution is random. See, understand? You can't prove evolution is random. What you can prove is, you might want to claim, is that it's an evolutionary, but you can't prove it's random because you don't know if it's random. In other words, you could say things evolved, but you could say God caused them to evolve in a certain way. So you can't know it's random. It's impossible to know that. So even if you would say it was an evolutionary process, we would say yes, God directed the evolutionary process, and He created that. Even if you want to believe in that, it evolved. But God was the one who caused. It's not random. What does Darwinism say? What is the world's philosophy? The world's philosophy is that since it's random, you are a monkey. There's no difference between you and a monkey. It's irrelevant. There is no purpose in the world. That's a Molech. Molech is there's no purpose in the world. And what we're doing today is, on Purim, even when our minds are spinning, we don't understand how many more, it's confused, we don't know, what we're doing is we're pulling out the goodness that's hidden inside that Nazi philosophy. Is his job in the world to conceal truth. That's something. And today we're pulling it out. You're concealing truth and we're fighting against it. We're saying there is a purpose. There is a meaning to the world. The world is very, very great and very, very deep. And the Purim story, which is the ultimate, it's the last of the stories in the Torah, in the Tanakh, in the written Torah, the last stories that could be written, because you know why? Because before then, the miracles were overt. This miracle of Purim is what brings us into our reality. It's all hidden. The world looks like monkey see, monkey do, I don't know, it's this guy, it's that guy, all these things in the news, but it's not true. Those who have eyes could see Hashem is running the world like He ran the world in the story of Purim to bring us where we have to go. So too, that's what's happening today. The story of Esther is the story of today. It is the last of the miracles to be recorded because it is the theme for our generation, our world. Hashem is with us. Even in a time of the greatest darkness, He's directing the show, but you just need eyes to see. Sing one song, we're going to say goodnight to everybody. Hashem, ki ani avdecha, ono Hashem, ki ani avdecha. Ono Hashem, Hashem, ki ani avdecha, ono Hashem, ki ani avdecha. Ani avdecha. Ben amasecha, ani avdecha, ben amasecha, pitachta lemoserai, oh ani avdecha, ben amasecha, ani avdecha, ben amasecha. Ani avdecha ben amasecha, pitachta lemoserai. Everyone join us. Hashem, ki ani avdecha. Ana Hashem, ana Hashem, ki ani avdecha. Ho ani avdecha, ben amasecha, ani avdecha. Everyone! Let's bring it down a little bit. A little bit higher. Great Purim, everyone. Great Purim. Happy Purim. Chag Sameach. Chaim v'chom v'chom rabbanan.
L'chaim.
Oh, folks, that was wonderful. I thought that was rather interesting. That was my first experience with a Purim festival, being that close. Yeah, they really let it go, but he kept his composure and shared some deep truths. I was really touched by the story about his mother in Auschwitz, and I hope you were too, folks. Thanks for joining us, and we hope to see you again next week for our continuation in our broadcast of Genesis. Bye for now, folks.